Beloved child, a quiet shift began the very moment you opened this message. Not because you happened to find it, but because something from heaven found its way to you. I, Michael, stand beside you in tenderness and majesty to remind you that this Sunday is not merely an ordinary mark on the calendar, nor is it a morning passing through tangled thoughts and unnamed emotions. There are moments hidden for a long time within your journey, and when the appointed time comes, they do not need noise in order to prove their sacredness. They simply open gently, touch you, cause something within you to become still, and let you recognize this is what you have been led to. Beloved child, not every appointment from heaven comes with a loud echo. Some appointments come through a message you unexpectedly pause to hear, through a gentle peace settling into your chest, through the feeling that an invisible hand is holding you back from distractions. You may think you are only opening a video, only passing through a very small moment in the day, but I tell you that what is happening is deeper than what your eyes can see. For a long time, a work has been built silently within you, through the times you waited, through the seasons you endured, through the doors that closed, through the moments you kept walking even when no one understood the depth of the battle inside you. That is why this Sunday carries a different rhythm. It has not come to alarm you, but to bring you back into sacred attention. There is a kind of arrival that needs no trumpet, no watching crowd, and no one calling your name in front of you. It comes when you stop running, when you sit still long enough to realize that God has never stopped leading you. It comes when a hidden part within you speaks without words. This is for me. This hour is not accidental, and my presence here has meaning. Therefore, do not rush past the feeling rising in your heart. Do not take lightly the stillness that has just covered you. Do not let outside noise pull you away from what is being stirred open. I am not telling you to stop because something bad is coming. I am telling you to stop because something good needs to be received by you with awareness. There are blessings that can pass by if you live too quickly, speak too much, react too fast, and leave no room for the gentle guidance of heaven. Breathe slowly. My child, let this day become a door, not merely a day. What has found you has not come to burden your heart, but to awaken the recognition that you are being arranged, preserved, and led to the exact place you need to reach. This moment carries a pure invitation. Remain, listen, and allow God to complete what He has been silently building in you for a very long time. I need you to understand this before we go any farther. You have heard yourself called chosen before, and that word touched a very real place within you. There were times when you thought you had finally grasped the meaning of that calling. But then, life pulled you back into old cycles, causing the light that had just appeared to seem dim before you could hold it. Many times, you have stood at the edge of a new beginning, feeling that a door was about to open. And then you sensed a backward pull from fears, habits, memories, and responsibilities that once forced you to live smaller than what God placed in you. Beloved child, I saw every time you began again. I saw you tell yourself that this time you would be different, that this season you would be stronger, that this week you would not let old delay take over again. But when things did not change as quickly as you hoped, a part of you began to wonder whether the beginning you were moving toward would truly come, or whether it was only a beautiful dream that kept moving farther away each time you tried to touch it. I do not blame you for wondering that. The weariness that comes after many attempts to rise is real. But today, I come to tell you that this question is no longer allowed to rule your heart. Not because today is merely an emotional promise, like the many times you encouraged yourself and then became exhausted again. Today is different because you are different. What once bent you no longer defines you as it did before. What once pulled you back no longer holds the same power over your steps. The version of you destined to enter maturity, clarity, and steadiness has been quietly moving toward this threshold for a long time. Every season you thought was delay was actually shaping you. Every silence you thought meant you had been forgotten was teaching you to listen more deeply. Every time you had to rise after disappointment gave greater weight to the steps you take today. So what begins this Sunday is not merely another effort, not merely another self-made promise, not merely another cycle of trying and then collapsing. This is emergence. This is the moment you move closer to the person God has quietly been forming in the seasons no one saw. What was formed in darkness will not remain there forever. What has been prepared in secret is beginning to come into the light. Not through display, but through the pure certainty of one who finally understands that the process they passed through was not wasted. Hear me with all the peace in your heart. Waiting was not punishment, and the season of formation was not a sign that you had been set back. It was preparation for this very moment. You no longer stand in the old place with the same old fear. You are no longer the person who only knows how to survive each day. You are becoming someone who knows how to walk with awareness, how to keep your heart soft yet steady, how to receive the new without returning to the old garment of doubt. This Sunday does not only mark a new day, it marks the first step of a journey you have been led toward for a very long time. Before you step deeper into what this day is holding for you, I want you to pause and listen to what is moving inside you right now. There are words that, when they touch the place appointed for them, do not merely pass through the ears and disappear, but create a very gentle response within, a soft warmth spreading, a tender pressure behind the chest, a stillness that rises above even the thoughts running through your mind. You may have felt it when you heard about completion, when you heard about the threshold, or when a certain phrase suddenly made you feel as though you had been called by your true name, even though no one actually spoke your name aloud. I want you to pay attention to that response. Not so you will become confused, but so you may recognize that there is a knowing within you that awakened before you could explain it with words. That is not merely a passing emotion. Beloved child, emotions can come and go according to the weather of circumstances. But sacred recognition is deeper, lower, and often comes with a strange peace, even when you do not fully understand. A part of you has been waiting for this message, not because you knew each word in advance, but because you have sensed for a long time that you are standing near a turning point. You have passed through many days that looked so similar that you thought nothing was changing. Yet, beneath that surface, heaven was silently preparing you. And now, as the word is placed before you, the hidden place within you begins to respond like a door hearing its key return. O child who has been preserved through many seasons of silence, there are signs showing that this day has not come to you by accident. I want to name them slowly, without haste, because each sign carries its own piece of confirmation. Perhaps you have never fully admitted what you have been sensing. Perhaps you have told yourself that you are only sensitive, only tired, only expecting too much. but I see the truth more clearly than the words you use to cover it. You have felt a gentle pull forward. You have seen that old things no longer hold you as they once did. You have recognized that certain words, a certain moment, and certain small signs keep returning at the right time, as though a gentle hand were arranging them along your path. So, do not quickly dismiss the response happening inside you. When your chest becomes still, when your breath slows down, when a word makes you feel both comforted and awakened, understand that this is an invitation into deeper attention. You do not need to force everything to happen today, and you do not need to chase the feeling like someone afraid of missing out. What I desire in you is gentle awareness, to know how to listen. Receive. Keep your heart pure, and not allow outside noise to distort what is being opened within. This day may be a threshold, but you must cross it in peace. Not haste, through trust. Not anxiety. I am near you to remind you that what you are feeling has a reason. And if you are willing to listen with a tender heart, you will recognize that you did not come here late, and you did not come here to the wrong place. You have carried something hidden within you much longer than others can recognize. Not on the surface of life, but in the deep place where only the Most High, and you truly know, I see it in you. O chosen one, it is a quiet understanding that you were not created merely to get through each day, merely to repeat old patterns, merely to survive within the limits that circumstances once placed upon you. For a long time, a small but persistent call has remained within you, reminding you that your story has not ended where others thought it stopped. You have not always known how to name it, but you know that something greater is waiting to open. A portion of life not yet told, a season not yet entered, a promise not yet fully formed before your eyes. This is not ambition in the way people usually understand it. It is not the desire to compete, to stand out, or to prove that you are more important than someone else. No, my child, it is much deeper. It is a recognition placed within you from the holy place. A sense that your life carries a gentle yet real responsibility, and that the delays that have passed do not have the right to declare every door permanently closed. There were seasons when you looked around and saw no evidence to keep believing. There was no clear confirmation. No one cheering you on. No quick result. No outward sign strong enough to support your hope. Yet even so, you never fully let go of what was still alive inside you. That itself says more than you think. I saw you pass through darkness no one could measure. When others left, you still took another step. When promises seemed far away, you still held on to a small spark. When delay made you weary, you still did not betray the hidden thing you knew was true. Perhaps you doubted, cried, and even wanted to put it down because it felt too heavy. But you never allowed it to die in your hands. That faithfulness, that quiet guarding of what was sown into you, even when there was no reasonable outward proof, is the first sign that you are being prepared for expansion. Therefore, do not take your endurance lightly. There are people who remain faithful only when they are seen. But you were faithful where no one applauded. There are people who believe only when the road is bright. But you walked while the way ahead was still dim. I speak to you with tenderness. What you carry is not an illusion. And delay is not a sentence. It is a time of refinement, protection, and strengthening of the inner person, so that when the door opens, You do not enter only with desire, but with maturity. Keep your heart pure. Continue walking with humility, because what has lived silently within you for so long is being led toward the time when it will bloom in the light. You have reached moments like this before, moments when it seemed heaven was opening before you, and afterward you grieved as that feeling seemed to slip from your hands. I know the mornings when you once woke with a strange clarity, as though everything within you had been set in order, as though you could begin again, as though you had finally come close enough to the version you have always been called to become. You had sincere prayers, strong declarations, and decisions that sounded so right when you spoke them. In that moment, you truly believed this time would be different, that you would not return to the old path, that you would no longer be pulled down by the same heaviness, the same delay, the same quiet distance between you and the person heaven was forming within you. But then the day passed. The emotions softened. The first light dimmed, and you found yourself standing again before familiar habits. Old thoughts found their way back. Old weariness settled over your shoulders. Reactions you thought you had overcome returned in moments when your strength was low, and you wondered whether you were only repeating a circle with no exit. At times, you almost felt ashamed that you had spoken so strongly, believed so much, hoped so deeply, and yet still had not gone as far as you had promised yourself. I saw that, child. I saw even the times when you became quiet after disappointment, not because you no longer wanted to change, but because you were too tired to begin again one more time. Yet, what I want you to see is not only the times you slipped away from the first emotion, but something more mysterious. You returned. You did not close the door completely. You did not bury that longing. You did not allow the times you faltered to become the final verdict over your life. Even when you sometimes saw yourself as stubborn, still believing in something not yet fully revealed, even when others looked at you as though you were naive for continuing to hope, even when you yourself wondered why you could not let go of that calling. I tell you, that is not weakness. Your returning is proof that something placed within you does not know how to surrender to darkness. There is a part of you that still recognizes the way back. Even when you have lost rhythm, there is a flame still quietly burning beneath the ashes. Even when the surface once seemed cold, what heaven has sown in you is not easily erased by one season of disappointment, one old habit, or one time you could not keep your promise to yourself. That perseverance is a sign of life resisting stagnation, a silent testimony that you still belong to something higher than the cycles that once held you back. So do not despise the times you begin again. Do not call returning failure every time you rise. You are proving that what has been entrusted to you still has a pull. I am near you in every return, not scolding, not leaving, but lifting you with patience. Keep walking, not through a burst of emotion in one morning, but through quiet faithfulness each day. What you were created to do is still calling you, and the very fact that you cannot let it go is the sign that it is still alive, still real, and still waiting for you to mature enough to carry it to completion. Something within you still refuses to bow to resignation. My beloved child, even when you have tried many times to convince yourself that this is enough, that you should be quieter, want less, dream smaller, and walk more slowly so you will not be so different from those around you, A hidden call within you gently pushes back. It does not come as bitter dissatisfaction, nor does it come as a greedy desire to seize what does not belong to you. It is like a quiet flame, not loud, but enduring, continually reminding you that your present life is not the whole picture God placed within you from the beginning. You may feel this most clearly in silence, at night, when every outer voice has quieted, in the middle of familiar tasks, when your hands are doing what must be done. But inside you hear a Father call. In the moments when you look up and wonder why you still cannot be fully satisfied with a life that is only safe enough, stable enough, and accepted enough, I want you to know that this restlessness is not necessarily anxiety. There is a kind of restlessness that comes from fear. But there is also a kind of holy stirring that comes from sacred design, seeking to awaken. There is a kind of longing that makes you chase empty recognition. But there is also a pure longing that makes you unable to betray the noble thing sown within you. People around you may have learned how to live beneath a certain ceiling. They adapted to limitation, named smallness realism, called the abandonment of greater questions maturity, and advised you to be resigned so you would hurt less, differ less, and fight less. You saw them do that, and a part of you once wanted to follow so you could feel lighter. But the more you tried to force yourself into a smaller mold, the more you felt that something did not fit. Not because you are higher than them, and not because you are allowed to despise anyone's journey. It is simply because you were not created to live by the measure others use to limit themselves. I speak this to you with mercy. The refusal to settle within you is not arrogance if it is placed under humility. The great longing within you is not recklessness if it is led by purity. You do not need to apologize because you still believe there is a wider road, a deeper service, and a brighter version of yourself waiting to be formed. But do not turn that calling into pressure that causes you to despise the present. Care for what is in your hands, but do not worship smallness. Be grateful for the steps you have passed through, but do not build a permanent house in a place meant only to be a stopping point. What is reminding you not to settle is the trace of your original design, calling you back to your true self. Let me lead you through peace, not haste, through courage, not comparison, through steadiness, not fear of being left behind. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to step wider. You are allowed to believe that what God placed within you was not meant to be buried beneath enough, but to be nurtured, purified, and revealed at the right time. You have had moments in the past season when everything suddenly aligned, as though a bright capacity within you opened and then closed again before you could hold it. I know those moments were not long, but they were strong enough that you could not forget them. There were times when a thought came to you whole, not fragmented, without forcing you to struggle to fit the pieces together. There were times when a solution appeared even before the problem had fully shown its shape. There were times when you felt sharper, more awake, deeper, and steadier than usual, as though a purer version of you had just stepped out of the fog to remind you that you are not as small as weary seasons made you believe. But then the feeling faded, and you could not call it back by your own will. The distance between what you had briefly seen and the ordinary state you had to return to quietly disappointed you. You wondered why you could see clearly one minute and become confused the next. Why the clarity that came so easily did not remain longer. Why you knew there was something powerful within you but could not operate in it steadily. I tell you, Do not condemn yourself for that gap. It is not proof that you imagined it. It is a sign that a real capacity has been placed within you, but its flow had been interrupted by burdens, fear, wounds, distraction, and the years when you had to live beneath what you were called to enter. What you glimpsed was not a beautiful coincidence that disappeared without meaning. It was a reminder, a small flash of what is being restored. Heaven allowed you to see a portion ahead of time, so you would no longer identify yourself with the old fog. You were not created to exist only in flickering states, sometimes bright, sometimes dim, sometimes strong, sometimes depleted. Within you there is a deeper order being called back, a sacred sensitivity being awakened, a clearer capacity to receive and act gradually opening. Therefore, do not mourn those moments as though they were lost. See them as signs of what is coming. I, Michael, remind you with mercy that what once flashed will not remain merely a passing glimpse forever. The Most High is loosening what interrupted your clarity, gathering your scattered attention, and healing the places that once made you doubt the very light entrusted to you. Walk slowly, keep your heart clean, and do not force yourself to recreate by your own strength what can only be restored by grace. That sharpness will return, not as a random spark, but as a steadier, more peaceful, and more mature flow in your life. This is the moment when the Father is doing something according to a sacred sequence. But the adversary tries to sow into you a false urgency, so you will doubt his rhythm. Beloved child, I, Michael, I want you to understand that not everything from the Father moves as quickly as you expect. There are arrangements built like a temple. Each foundation stone must be placed correctly. Each door must open at the right time. Each person must be brought in the right season. And each part within you must also be prepared steadily enough to carry what is about to be entrusted. If you look only through impatience, you will think everything is standing still, but in heaven's eyes, the invisible layers are still quietly connecting. The adversary often does not need to destroy what the Father is doing through a loud attack. It only needs to whisper into your sense of timing. It makes you think that if this were truly given from above, it should have come faster, clearer, stronger, and more visibly. It makes you see preparation as delay, rest as failure, silence as a sign that the door has closed. When you believe that false urgency, you begin to lose peace. You no longer walk according to the rhythm of guidance, but begin pushing, pulling, forcing, controlling, and trying to make what is sacred run according to your fear. But child, an arrangement from the Father has its own breath. It cannot endure a hurried hand, not because it is weak, but because it is designed to unfold in order. There are encounters that need to ripen. There are answers that must come after you have learned to stand firm. There are opportunities that are only safe when you no longer use anxiety to control them. If you leave too early, you may lose what is being formed. If you force it to open before its season, you may crack the very structure the Father is building to support you. So when the voice rises within you saying, "It must happen faster," pause and discern. Does that pressure bring you into peace? Or does it only make you afraid you will miss out? The wisdom of the Father is usually steady, deep, and clear. It may prompt you to act, but it does not throw you into panic. It may tell you to move, but it does not cause you to trample what is being prepared. False urgency, however, always makes you feel that if you do not act immediately, you will lose everything. Remember, what the Father truly has for you does not need to be protected through panic, but through obedience, patience, and awareness. I stand beside you to remind you that timing is also part of guidance. Do not only ask whether this is right, ask what pace it must be entered with. There are blessings that need not only faith, but also the right rhythm. Let the Father teach you to walk slowly, without fear. Stand still without suspicion, and wait without breaking what is being assembled. When the right time comes, it will open not by force, but by fullness, and you will know that today's slowness was not stagnation, but the sacred hand protecting the perfect form of what the Father has prepared for you. There has been a season in your life that repeatedly did not respond in proportion to everything you sowed into it. You believed with such depth that circumstances should have opened in a different shape, brighter, clearer, fairer to all you had carried faithfully. You prayed when others had grown tired. You kept standing when many voices around you said it would be better to let go. You held faith through stages when, if judged only by what the eyes could see, there seemed to be no reason left to keep hoping. But the timing still did not align. The door opened slightly, then closed before you could step through. The sign seemed aligned, then shifted before it became certain. I know how deeply that misalignment confused you. Not because you lacked faith, but because you had so much faith. Not because you were indifferent, but because you had poured your heart more deeply than most people could understand. The distance between what you laid down and what you saw before you is what hurt you. You asked, if I was that faithful, why is the result so slow? If I held on with all the purity I could, why does what should have formed keep slipping from my hands at the final moment? And the hardest thing was that no explanation felt complete enough to soothe that confusion. But beloved child, hear me in peace. Temporary disproportion does not mean your sowing was useless. There are seasons. Heaven does not measure by immediate outward results, but by what is being formed inside you while you continue standing in the unfinished place. What closed before you is not always rejection. Sometimes it is protection from a door that is not yet safe enough. What shifts before becoming fixed is not always loss. Sometimes it is a higher hand preventing you from entering a structure not yet strong enough to support what you carry. I do not deny your weariness. I saw you wake with faith, then go to sleep with questions. I saw you encourage others while still waiting for confirmation yourself. I saw you keep doing what was right when your heart had little strength left. But in that very place, you are being made deeper, not forgotten. This slowing is teaching you to distinguish between the true promise and the shape you thought the promise had to take. It is separating you from dependence on a single outcome, so you can recognize that the Most High can open a way in ways you never expected. Therefore, do not call this season failure. Call it hidden alignment. What you invested through faith has not disappeared. It is being kept, purified, and arranged for the right time. When it comes, you will understand why fragile doors had to close, why unripe alignments had to move, and why you needed to be made steady before being entrusted with something greater. I am with you in that gap, not allowing you to become lost, but leading you out with greater clarity, maturity, and peace.